Hey guys, what's up? This is Luis el Apóstol Feliz. I'm here in my bedroom, and guess what? Look at what I have for you guys. This is a 1970s Land Rover truck SUV. And before I begin, this is in the Matchbox moving parts lineup. And before I begin, Monday, let's talk about what's going on. Okay, so y'all know about Matchbox. It is the apostle to the diecast. First, it was introduced in the early 1950s by Lesney, and now but it morphed into Matchbox. Over the years, Matchbox has been making some great models from the dreaded Hero City era to the Tyco era. This brand, owned by Mattel, still owned by Mattel, they have a lot cooking for 2026. And so, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let me show you guys this cool truck. So, right off the bat, you know that detail. Look at that detail. You do have your old-fashioned headlights. You know, this was way back before LEDs came into regulation. Look at those DRLs right there. So cool. So menacing by modern standards. Now, coming to the bottom, it's a smooth bumper, but you'll notice, back then bumpers weren't integrated into the body, to comply with, regulation. And this is what they did back then. But love the design. I guess my one thing here, they could have added some fog lamps there or something just to break up a sea of black. Now, coming to the side, look at these mirrors there. On modern cars, you see the mirrors. The mirrors are more attached with the side on the mirrors are more attached on the door. But back then mirrors, you had, hood mounted mirrors, which looks so, I'm kind of on the fence. Because normally mirrors are supposed to be here in today's modern car world. But you'll notice, look at that interior though. Before I let the cat out of the bag, feast your eyes on these good-looking wheels. Love the design. they These are era specific wheels. You know, they're not they're not as beautiful by today's standards, but love that design. And I wish, and I'm gonna have to zonk it though. I wish they could have added some branding right there, like Michelin or Firestone, something. And gotta zonk the plastic tires though. On a $3 Matchbox, come on, you can do better than that, Matchbox. Now coming to the side, look at that metallic blue. Kind of has a metallic flake on it, but look at that era specific door handle. You know, back then, door handles, were simpler. You know, back in the 1970s, this was this was a this was a trend that they used to do before adding, the typical door handles that you have in today's modern cars. But look at the interior though. May look simple by modern standards, but who really gives a fulan about it? But look at those windows there. It looks quite different from a modern day car. Now, coming to the back, look at that Land Rover. At that Land Rover. Look at the taillights, though. Still those old school lighting. Still that old school light. You do have your... I like the fact that you do have, your Range Rover text right there. I wish, I like the back, but the back has some pluses, but there are some zonks. The first thing is, love the taillights. Love how they look. In modern day cars, you have fancy light bars and they have cool designs. But back in the 1970s, who gives a fulano about all the, but who gives a fulano about adding integrated? Who gives a fulano about light bars back then? But look, my one zonk, I wish they would extend this roof spoiler there to kind of get rid of that. What the fulano is that? That is a big no-no in my book. But I love that exhaust. Love that exhaust right there. Just you have one on the left and one at... Is that one? Is that an exhaust? No. Just one exhaust up top. And that is a big no-no in my book. But look at that. Look at that. Look at it, that attention to detail. This Matchbox is going, I feel like with Matchbox, they're going up market though. So, but look at that hood though. That is how that is how an old school engine looked like. No, look at that carburetor though. Before adding, turbochargers, the hood does not stay up. Before adding turbochargers and all that, before all the emissions regulations, this is what they had back then. And you can see a whole fettuccine of hoses and wires. It wasn't pretty by today's standards. But look at that grill though. Does it roll? You better bet your bottom dollar. It rolls real nice. It rolls super cool. So what, these are the things that I always like to bring so that you guys can enjoy what I bring, Sometimes I, like yesterday I reviewed the, Disney Pixar's Lightning McQueen piggy bank. But now, this looks super cool. Should this be added to anyone's collection? I'd say go for it. If you're new to this channel, make sure you guys comment, like, share, subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit that like button so that y'all would see more videos like this. Gotta give thanks to almost 750 subscribers. I cannot do this without y'all's help. So, until next time, I'll see you on the next review.